here and it's Friday and we have a full moon in Leo coming up on Sunday, and so this Leo is really feeling it. Even though my son's in Leo, and normally you're gonna feel the moon the most when it's in your moon sign, which for me is Capricorn, but my Leo heart loves a good Leo moon, especially when it's full, because it's bright and it's shining and it wants to give. And so today I thought we would talk about the moon and the moon's energy and how you might work with the moon, how you might honor the cycles of the moon if that's something you're wanting to do, or even how just being aware of the moon and its cycles can be helpful in planning your day and having a little more compassion towards the energies that are going to be impacting you. I'm also going to talk about some various stones that are connected to the moon's energy. Got all my moon stones out. Some of them are actual moonstone and other of them are just stones that are connected to the moon. So, with the moon, it is up in the sky, right? We can see it, and it changes all the time. It goes through all of these different cycles and phases, right? Here's a better example. All the different phases of the moon. And so it goes from being full to dark. And when it's going from full to dark, that is called waning. It is losing its light. It's getting smaller, or not really getting smaller, but the light is getting smaller, right? That's waning. Then, when it's all the way dark, it's called the new moon. The moon is about to become new again, and it's dark. And then slowly, the light starts coming back. And it goes all the way to being full. And so, those are the cycles of the moon. That takes about 28 days. As the moon is going through that 28-day cycle, it is moving through signs of the zodiac, which color or flavor the energetic expression of the moon. Now, the moon kind of rules over our subconscious, our emotions. It can connect with our intuition, although so do some of the other planets, but it definitely connects to the more feeling and sense-based parts of us. And as it moves through the different signs of the zodiac, it spends about 2.5 days in each of the 12 signs of the zodiac. And so when it moves through Aries, it gets flavored with that Aries energy, which is bold and daring. It's going to be a more assertive energy. It's going to want to do more. There can't even be a restlessness with that energy. And then it moves into Taurus energy, and Taurus energy is more grounded. It might want some alone time. It's going to have a very refined aesthetic, so you might be more drawn to art, music at the times the moon is in Taurus. You might want to really engage with good, nourishing foods. You're going to want maybe some physical touch or more rest. Those are all Taurian themes. And then it moves into Gemini, and we get more mentally engaged and stimulated. We want to share information. We want to communicate, connect ideas, synthesize information. We might be a little fickle with our emotions when the moon is in Gemini. All right? And then it moves from Gemini into Cancer, and that's where the moon is most at home. The moon rules Cancer. It's connected to the water, the oceans. It's nurturing. It's the sign of the mother. But it also, Cancer is a crab. It has a shell. So there is that sense that moon almost has like a cat-like energy. Sometimes it wants to be seen and sometimes it doesn't, right? The moon is sometimes bright and bold and sometimes it's dark. And so when the moon is in Cancer, there is a deeper engagement with our feeling realm. We're wanting to nurture and be nurtured. And that means sometimes we're wanting to reach out and embrace the other, and other times we're wanting to like hole up and be with ourselves. The Cancer energy is very much a homebody energy. It likes to be in an environment that's comfortable. The crab wants its shell, right? It might be out of its shell and socializing, but it still wants to know it has its home base right there with it. And that's a strong theme of the moon in Cancer, wanting to feel like you have a home, like you have a protection, but you can also be very tender. And then the moon moves into Leo. Hi, Patty. It's good to see you. And Leo is big energy, and it wants to share and connect and express. It's very open-hearted energy. And so this full moon in Leo, the moon is full, it's bright, it's shining, but it's also reached its culmination. And this is going to happen early Sunday morning if you're on the East Coast. It's 2:33 a.m. is when it's exact, although you'll feel the energy throughout the day, Saturday and Sunday. A lot of times when the moon is full, we don't sleep much. There's a restlessness. Things are brighter. There tends to be more crime, more hospital visits. There's more activity when the moon is full. And there's different theories as to why that is. But the full moon in Leo is going to be a time to really explore how you feel with sharing your heart, what parts of you are wanting to be expressed. There's going to be a desire for validation and attention and recognition, but also a genuine desire to share and connect with others. Then when the moon moves through, it will soon after Sunday move into Virgo. That is moving out of a fire sign into an earth sign. There's a grounding energy with moon in Virgo. Moon in Virgo likes to get things right, but it also likes to clean your home or work on a project, go through a to-do list. There's going to be also, watch out for being a little too judgmental, a little too critical when the moon is in Virgo. You can be a little harsh with your emotions. You can want to distance yourself from your emotions. And then the moon will move into Libra for 2.5 days. And so it's spending, just a couple days in each sign. It's of the planetary bodies, it is the one that moves the quickest through the signs of the zodiac. So the energy of the moon changes constantly, just like the shape of the moon or the light we see from the moon is changing constantly. And so as the moon moves into Libra, that is another of the social signs. It wants to connect. It also wants things to be fair. You might become very aware when the moon is in Libra of things that feel imbalanced in your life, things where you feel like, I was wronged, that wasn't fair. You might be really sensitive to dynamics between other people as well. It's also some flirtatious energy. The moon is connected to the energy of seduction. And so you might feel a little more like the seducer, or you might be more easily seduced when the moon is in Libra. And then from Libra, it moves into Scorpio, and Scorpio likes the depths, and it's about regeneration, and also what is secret, what is hidden, what is taboo. It deals with themes of power and power dynamics. And there's a deep loyalty with Scorpio. There's an intensity of feeling with Scorpio. And so making space for your feelings and the intensity that is present when the moon is in Scorpio, it's good to know. Good to know when the moon is in Scorpio. If you don't know, you probably will if you start paying attention. If you have very intense feelings, it's not always because the moon is in Scorpio, but that's one thing to check, right? And so one of the ways I keep track of things is I have this moon astrology planner, and it literally tells me what the moon is doing each day. So as I'm planning my day or my year, it tells me it's in Aquarius, which is an air sign, and it's waning. And that's important too, and we'll get into knowing what phase the moon is in. But knowing that the moon is in that sign is helpful. So because it colors, again, the energy is coloring the day. So when the moon moves out of Scorpio, it's going into Sagittarius, which is an energy of optimism and curiosity. And again, it's a very Sagittarian energy, can be very social. It can also be, I'm going off on an adventure, like, let's go do this. So there's curiosity and excitement and adventure and spontaneity when the moon moves into Sagittarius, you might be more willing to take a risk or try something new. And then the moon will move into Capricorn, which is an earth sign. So we're going into, oh, you purchased the planner, Patty. Great. Yay. I write down my card. Oh, awesome. Yeah, a lot of people use this book to write down their card pulls. I have a different book that's specifically for card pulls, but this is my moon astrology book that I really like. Anyways, so Capricorn energy, it's grounded. My moon, my natal moon, is in Capricorn. So that means the moon was in Capricorn on the day I was born. And so that colors my inherent sense of how I approach the world, how I feel emotionally secure. It can even affect the types of partners you're drawn to. The moon can. It's not the only thing that influences that, but your moon does flavor who you're attracted to, who you feel safest with, who you feel most open with. Capricorn moons are interesting. We are really good at processing our own emotions for ourselves in private. I might seem really warm and expressive, and I am. That's my Leo energy. But when it comes to my own emotions and my emotional work, I like to do that in private. Unless I feel super, super, super duper safe with you. And then I will be a little more expressive. But I prefer to do my emotional processing in private. And Capricorn moons are very good at it. We can do that emotional work. We get stuff done. It's the boss. I'm really good in a crisis, right? I'm not going to be the one freaking out and running around. I'm going to be the one saying, I'm going to stay calm and grounded. Here's what we need to do. I will handle the emotions after the crisis has passed. So, that's the Capricorn energy. And then the moon will move after 2.5 days. It spends in Capricorn-ish. It will move into Aquarius. And Aquarius energy is it's a little kooky. It's a little out there. It's big picture. It's got a vision. We just had a new moon in Aquarius. So we're moving into this weekend a full moon in Leo, which means about 2 weeks ago, we had the new moon in Aquarius. And this is the time to think about what your biggest ideas are. How are you bringing your soul's desires forth into expression? Aquarian energy is brilliant, innovative. It thinks outside the box. So when the moon is in Aquarius, it's a really good time to be doing some planning, depending on the phase of the moon, which we will get into because that's important too. But the sign of Aquarius colors the moon with an energy of being innovative, of getting to see the bigger picture. All right. And then we move into Pisces energy, and that's the last of the 12 signs. And the Pisces energy is one of feeling very compassionate. It's another water sign. It's very empathetic. It almost has a hard time knowing its boundaries. So when the moon is in Pisces, you might also anytime the moon is in one of the water signs, that is when our emotions and our sensitivities are going to be extremely heightened. And it's an artistic sign. Things are abstract. Piscean energy is very hard to pin down. And so you might be feeling things, but I don't know why I'm feeling them. And you might be drawn to create some art or connect with people. You also might want to really spend some time alone and feeling into what you need when the moon is in Pisces. Is important. It can be a time of heightened intuition. It's a great time to pull cards and meditate and do some spiritual work. It can be harder socially because you're going to be so aware of what everyone else is feeling too. It kind of turns up the volume on our empathy. Our mirror neurons are extra active when the moon is in Pisces. So that is the moon through the signs. Now the moon, like I said, when it's in these different phases, each one of these little signs here, these moons, is a phase. And so I'll walk you through kind of what the different phases mean, and that energy impacts us as well. And so this is a cool little moon calendar we sell at Seed to Star. The moon phases. When the moon is new, it's a time of rebirth. It's a time of planting seeds. It's a time to set intentions and goals. It's also a time to be more quiet and introspective, as well as the days leading up to the new moon. I usually, if I'm going to set intention, I wait until after that moon is exact. When it's exact, I'm deep in meditation. I'm feeling into things. I'm allowing what I want and what I know to be true to emerge. And then in the 3 days following the moon, that's the first quarter, when the moon is waxing, okay, the light is growing. That's the first quarter. And that is the time to start to begin to really move forward on ideas. So you would consider the phase the moon is in if you're really wanting to more consciously work with the moon's energy. First quarter moons, waxing moons, are times to move into action. So I would actually officially declare and set my intention and start my planning while the moon is waxing. And then you can bring in the zodiac energy to see, each month it's going to change. Like when the moon is waxing, this month it's going to be in Virgo energy. No, that's not right. We're about to have the full moon. That's waning. But we had Pisces energy. We had the new moon in Aquarius. So Pisces, it was waxing, and then it moved through about half the zodiac. It moves through half the zodiac, 6 of the signs. Each month between new moon and full moon, you move through 6 signs of the zodiac, all right? And then you move through the next 6 while it's waning. And so paying attention to that. So movement is kind of the phase. Building is the phase of the first quarter. And then the moon becomes full, and that's a time of ripeness. It's a time when you're preparing to release. You've reached a culmination, acknowledging what has been completed, seeing what is being illuminated, and what you're getting ready to make room for, because after the full moon comes the third quarter moon. It begins waning. The light is decreasing. It gets the third quarter when it's halfway between full and new. And so the third quarter moon is a time of release, of letting things go, of acknowledging what has served its course, and having gratitude, but also setting some boundaries, having more solitude. You're going to feel more active and social while the moon is waxing, and you're going to begin to feel more inward while the moon is waning. And then the moon goes dark and there's stillness, okay? And that's a time of introspection, meditation, prayer, and a time to be very much more with yourself than trying to be with other people, all right? If y'all have any questions about any of this, feel free to post them in the comments. Sometimes the comments come through a little delayed, so don't see them right away. That was a lot of talking. I didn't even think I was going to talk about all the zodiac, but it felt important. So that's a little tiny taste of what you can pay attention to or be aware of with the moon, because that energy it's changing all the time, but it flavors, it colors what we do. The other thing I wanted to talk about was when the moon is void of course. And I shared a link earlier today on my Facebook page about what that means when the moon is void of course. And it's a great article to read if you like to read. But basically, the moon is void of course for anywhere from like a few minutes to 3 days. And it happens regularly. Every month the moon has times when it is void of course. I'm going to pull up my moon planner and give you a little taste of when the moon is void of course and why it's important to know when the moon is void of course. Okay, so here we have January 19th. January 19th, it was void of course, and moving from Scorpio to Sagittarius. The break during void of course was from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Again, sometimes it's only for as little as like a few minutes, like 13 minutes, and other times the moon will be void of course for up to 3 days. And so when it is void of course, it is a time to be inward. It is just like when the moon is dark, but it doesn't, when the moon is void of course, it is a time to be more attentive to yourself, not trying to do too much. It's sort of, it's not the same, but it's almost like a little mini Mercury retrograde, where if you're really trying to push to be more connected and external, it's a time that's just been naturally kind of set aside for you to be engaged in prayer, in meditation, in self-care, not trying to do all the things. It's like the universe is pressing pause. And if you can honor the pause and really use it as a necessary pause, it can really benefit you. Whereas if you're trying, and I'm sure you have moments because this happens all the time, the moon goes void of course regularly. Here it is again, February 1st. We just had a void of course moon. When's the next one? Void moon to Aries at 11 a.m. on February 25th. There will be one. But you can get a moon app. Void of course moon February 22nd. And it happens for different lengths of time. So I have this app called the Deluxe Moon app. And it tells me the exact hours when the moon is void of course. Now, obviously, we live in a modern society. You can't always just say, I'm sorry, this week on Wednesday, I'm not working from the hours of 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. because the moon is void of course. Now, in my ideal world, we really could just like not have actual schedules and honor what our bodies need, honor what the energy feels like. But obviously you can't just completely stop what you're doing based on like where the moon is. You don't need to do that. Kitty says void of course is also listed in the Llewellyn calendars. Yes, a lot of spiritual and or astrology connected planners, calendars will list when the moon is void of course because it is very helpful to know. What I can do is, even if I'm not working, like even if I'm not able to just take the time off, because I'm obviously not always taking time off, luckily the work I do, it works really well with the void of course moon because I'm being more intuitive, I'm being more introspective, but I can be more compassionate with myself. When the moon is void of course, I'm going to feel a little more quiet. My energy might feel a little lower. I might feel a little less on, right? I'm just not as energetic and extroverted when the moon is void of course. And so I just honor that. I just embrace it. I accept it and I continue on with my day. But it can help to know. So as I plan my days and weeks, I just look at, and I know like here in March, Aries waxing moon, that is an excellent energy for getting a whole lot of shit done. So I can see that there's going to be this energy coming in on March 25th that is going to want to like kind of bolt me forward with my plans and ideas. The moon app, there's tons. The one I use is literally called Deluxe Moon app. And it tells me what sign the moon is in, what phase it's in, when it's void of course. It gives a little horoscope for each day. It even tells you there's things about what, like, when it's good to cut your hair and not. Obviously, I do not live my whole life based on the moon. I don't live my life based on anything outside of myself, honestly. What I have noticed over the years, though, as I document and journal how I feel, is that it does tend to line up pretty nicely with what the moon is doing. And so there is this affinity between my natural energy cycles and the moon. And then a lot of women call their menstrual cycle their moon cycle because it does tend to be, and it's different from woman to woman, but on average we have 13 cycles throughout the year, just like there are 13 moons throughout the year. And you have a natural, organic fluctuation of energy, of creativity, of openness, of extroversion versus introversion through the different days of your monthly cycle, of your moon cycle. And it does really often correspond with the moon. My menstrual cycle, I had this cool moon chart one year where you could like color in the days of your period, and I could see what it does. Like I've charted my cycle for like probably a decade at this point. And my cycle currently, and for like about the past 5 years, and maybe it did it earlier than that and I just didn't know, but it will move between having my period during the new moon and having it during the full moon. So part of the month I have my cycle, my period between when the moon is new and full. But it does this, like, when you actually chart it out, it makes this like infinity loop that is so cool to see, these like patterns of like my own cycle, and it makes this like infinity loop with the phases of the moon. Really cool. Okay, Patty says, talk again about hair cutting in the moon. Oh, that's not something I actually follow, Patty, but there have been documented recommendations. There are times of the year, there's times and days with the moon where it's recommended to color your hair, or it'll say you will have bad, I don't like doom and gloom stuff, okay? I'm not all like love and light, but I also like, I don't need shit that's making me feel like, oh no, I got my hair colored today and now my crops are going to fail. Like, I don't even really have crops, but you know, it's like that kind of thing. So the Deluxe Moon app will list all the different things, like sex is recommended today, hair cutting is not recommended today. It's kind of like that. And so there are, and it probably, there's a reason for it, but I've definitely gotten my hair cut on days it's not recommended, and I don't know, I'm okay. But I do kind of look at that now just because it's there too, like stuff gets in my head, and I look at it when I'm scheduling my haircuts with my hair priestess, because also I have a hair priestess, not just a hairstylist, and like hair is pretty magical. And so there are recommended days and times for cutting hair and coloring hair too, and times when you should leave your hair alone. Kitty says, for those on hormonal birth control, what would be the ideal phase to sync with menstrually? That's a good question. I don't believe in prescriptions across the board for people. I think you can ask your own body what it would like. I think it depends on the stage of life you're in. I think when you're in your like more croning stage, there's a different energy than when you're in a more maiden stage and then a mother stage. So I would ask yourself what feels most natural for you. I think that's partly why my cycle is fluctuating between the two, because I am in like very much a mother phase, but moving into my crone phase. And so I think it's all changing, you know, it's changing. But I would feel into what feels right for you. I know for me, the full moon and when it's waning, that's a time of release naturally. So that could be like, I would like to start my cycle on the full moon, but I don't always. And when I have my cycle on the new moon, I'm feeling very in tune with, I like having that downtime to like cut off from the world and chill. And I really do try to honor at least like the first day or two of my period each month. I really do try to like lay low on those days. I'm fortunate that I can set my own schedule, and so I really do try to honor my natural cycles and give myself, when I am like in the first few days of bleeding and releasing, I like to be more quiet and alone and do my own, have time for myself, have time to connect with myself, to feel, to not have to be up in my head. And so I try to honor that. Share the hair priestess contact info, please. I will post a link, but it's Elena at the Wayward Parlor. Look up the Wayward Parlor, and like she will like pull cards for me when my hair color is setting. We've even pulled cards to see like what kind of color I should have. She's amazing. Her place is like crystal gridded and like all kinds of stuff. I like to menstruate on the waning dark moon because I'm already low. Yeah, already low energy on the waning dark moon. So that's good. That feels like a good cycle for you. I would honor that. I might have missed a comment. Sex should be recommended every day, says Anna Marie. Yeah. Well, but also, I mean, there's like too much of a good thing, maybe. I mean, sometimes it's nice to take a little break and then like, oh, wow. But if you want to have sex every day, like, yay. But according to the Moon app, sex is not recommended every day. So If you want to live your life by the moon, yeah, you might not have sex every day. Moonstones. Okay, I'm going to share about different stones. So there's other ways of working with the moon energy. Y'all, if this stuff is just too much, you don't want to think about what cycle it's in or what sign the moon is in, you don't have to. You don't have to work with the moon in that way. You can just literally go out and connect with the moon. Have your own unique experience and relationship with the moon. That is actually my first and foremost recommendation. Go spend time with the moon in all of its phases. Spend time outside, look at it, feel its light, bathe in the light, be with it, stare at the moon. Connect with the moon energetically, feel the energy of the moon. What does it feel like to you? Does it feel like a feminine energy or not? In some cultures, the moon is connected to a masculine deity. So honor what your unique relationship with the moon is. And then there are stones that are said to embody or be expressions or affinity. Like, it can enhance your connection with the moon. It can represent the energy of the moon. And one of the first and foremost stones connected to the moon is literally called moonstone. And so it comes in different forms. This is a more rough piece of moonstone, rainbow moonstone. And it's called rainbow moonstone even though it looks white, because when the light hits it, it's actually iridescent. So here's a more polished piece of rainbow moonstone. You can't really see the iridescence right now, but go get yourself a piece of moonstone. Everyone should have some moonstone. It's one of my fave stones. I love moonstone. It also comes in different colors. So this is peach moonstone, if you want a little peachy energy. And then there's a black moonstone, which isn't totally all the way black always. It can have some color in it, but it is a dark stone. It's got definite black in it, and it has an iridescence. And so the white moonstone makes me think of like the light of the moon, the full moon, the energy of when the moon is illuminated and things are being illuminated. And so it keeps energy moving. It enhances your intuition. It can help shine light on things that were hidden. It also has the moonstone for me has a very like ethereal but like loving energy. It's like, oh, I'm a fairy. I don't know, that's how I feel when I'm wearing I have these moonstone earrings. When I'm wearing moonstone, I feel like my intuition is turned up, but I also feel more ethereal. So if you're someone that needs a lot more grounding, which, you know, I do too, I wouldn't like always wear moonstone. But if you're someone that, you know, but it is beautiful. So, you know, again, do what you want. But it's not now I can really see it. I wish I could see it. When the light hits it, there's rainbows in it. So beautiful. Anyways, there's moonstone. The black moonstone is really great. I like to meditate with black moonstone when I'm doing my own personal work, not when I'm leading meditation for other people, but when I'm wanting to do my own personal work. If I'm wanting to really go deeper within myself, black moonstone is really good at assisting in going deeper within, in doing some shadow work, in sinking into the deeper realms within myself. And so when I'm doing that kind of work, I like to have black moonstone with me. And then the other stone that I have that I love that's really connected to the moon is called selenite. And selenite is spelled Selenite, and it's after Selene, who is a moon goddess. And the way the light hits this, it really does look like the moon is shining. So here's a little polished ball of selenite. Ooh, so pretty. And here's a wand. You can find it commonly in wands or chunks like this. It's a pretty affordable stone. It's you know, not gonna break the bank. And it's really great, keeps energy moving through spaces. And so you'll notice at Seed to Star we have selenite in like all of our windowsills. And we'll put it in the corners of the rooms and stuff. And we have a big chunk of it sometimes I put behind me while we're doing group meditation. And it's another stone that just kind of embodies the energy of the moon. So it's another way to like explore, play, work with the energy of the moon. You can build a moon grid, and use whatever stones you feel called to. You don't just have to work with stones specifically connected to the moon. You can honor the zodiac energy. If this full moon is in Leo, I would get more like leonine stones, like tiger's eye and pyrite. Ooh, a pyrite right here. Pyrite, gold and shiny, carnelian even. I experience it kind of leonine energy. And then you might want to surround it with sticks of selenite and like really open the heart and like have a sense of like big expression and expansion with your grid. Like, I am going to shine my unique self. I'm going to share my heart with the world. I'm going to move this energy out through the world. I'm going to receive all the love I need. All of that. So, yeah. I normally do a little something to acknowledge or honor the full moon and the new moon. Sometimes though I feel really called to work with the first quarter moon or the third quarter moon if I'm really working to release something in my life or to call something in. I will work with the moon when it's between new and full, right? Depending on if I'm releasing, I work with the moon while it's waning. If I'm calling something in, I work with the moon while it's waxing. And then I also will, you can make different medicines. I'm making a special tincture right now, and I'm going to have it outside at night under the Leo full moon to soak in that energy, to call in the energy. You can make moon water. It doesn't even have to be a tincture. You can literally have water. I would prefer like spring water or rainwater that you've collected. But you can use you can use any water. I like more living water, right? Living water. I can feel the energy of the water. So I usually work with spring water from an underground spring. Like, I go collect it myself. And you don't have to do that. My life's a little different than the average Joe's. I realize that. But you can collect water from a river or a lake. Don't drink it unless you sterilize it, but you can make moon water and let it infuse with the energy of the moon, and then you can work with that. You can work with it however you want. One of the biggest things I do when I work with people is I really encourage people not to follow someone else's guidebook for how to work with the elements. We all have our own energy, and it's unique, and your relationship with the world around you, your relationship with stones and the moon and water and everything is going to be unique because you're unique. And so really the best guidance for you in how you work with anything is going to come from you. And if you can get quiet and listen, you will feel guided to what to do. If you are so worried you're going to get it wrong, first of all, I'll tell you, you're not going to get it wrong. But sometimes we give away our power by following someone else's magic. Here's a ritual. Here's a kit. Here's what someone else on the internet said I should do. And so I want to resource you with information about the different possibilities and the different flavors the moon can come in. But what you do with that is really up to you. And you might feel guided to do something completely different than what anyone else that has ever existed has done. And that is awesome. And you should honor it and be your wild, freaky, go be dancing under the moon. I love to howl. I'm a howler too. And so I howl at the moon when it's full often, and it's a big release. Again, we're moving into a time of, the moon is full. We've reached a culmination. I just, let it go. I moon bathe. I will go out and let the moonlight touch my skin. I will sit under the moon when it's dark and just be still, connect. But those are things I do. Those are things lots of people do. There's drawing down the moon rituals. There's all kinds of things you can do to work with the moon. We have moon circles here at Seed to Star. There's Wild Woman moon circles happening all over Atlanta, all over the world. So if you want, you dance for the moon, kitty. I love, and yes, we can do things for the moon. I love that you dance for the moon. Sometimes I sing to the moon. My child and I will make up songs sometime and sing them to the moon. Yes, there's a give and take, but there is no right or wrong. So find out how you want to work with the moon. It's fine to do a little research and have information. Like, that's obviously one of the reasons I do these Q&As. But there is no right or wrong way to connect. And so you are going to have your own unique relationship. And you should. And that is honored. And so trust yourself and empower yourself. She's the best audience. That moon, she's a good audience. I'm glad. I'm trying to think if there's anything else about the moon. Moon, would you like me to share anything? Shine bright. Except when you want to be dark. And then don't. The moon's darkness is not bad, and our own darkness is not bad. She's always whole. The moon is always whole. We just don't always see it, right? We don't always see the moon, but it's still there. So there's that. And if y'all have any other questions, there's full moon and new moon tarot spreads you can do. There's moon decks. I have a Spirit de la Lune moon deck that I just gave to one of my priestesses. But you can, if you want to work with the moon more, there's a million ways you can do that. There's a million tools you can use. You can make your own moon water starting now, right? Go ahead and stick it out. It doesn't even have to be exact. Like, don't get hung up on the details. Like, bring intention and reverence into what you do if you're wanting to do magical work. Obviously, take care with it. You're working with real energy. But also don't get hung up on like getting it right or wrong, and give space for your own creativity and your own imagination to come forth, especially with a Leo full moon, okay? Express your wild and wacky and wonderful selves. Have a great weekend. Enjoy. Howl if you want to howl. Dance if you want to dance. Enjoy. And I'll see y'all again soon. I'll be back on Monday with my Mystic Mondays weekly forecast. So see you then. Bye.